One reason the first mate and I enjoy cruising is the food, of course. It's really nice to get a break from everyday life where I have to grocery shop for everything and cook everything, or the first mate does. It's really a part of the cruising treat that why we enjoy cruising sometimes over land vacations. This video is going to be a food tour only of the Carnival Venezia, and I really encourage you to watch the whole thing because there's some really good things going on in the Venezia, and there's some definite things that we call rough waters warnings that will be helpful for you to know before you get on the ship. So enjoy the video and bring your appetite. Hi, we're the Cruise Port Captain crew, exploring the world one port at a time. After more than 20 years of cruising, we've learned the best port days are usually the ones we planned ourselves. Doing it on your own lets you explore deeper, save money, and truly make the most of every stop. Join us for port guides, travel tips, and cruise know-how to help you make every port day count. Check the video description for links to our favorite resources and tools that help us cruise smarter, and maybe they'll inspire your next adventure. Now on to the video. It's I wanted to share some of the ground basics of the ship itself because this actually does affect the culinary experience that you're going to have. So the ship is relatively new, 2019, but it was built for the Costa brand, which falls under the Carnival. But they did change it over to being a full Carnival ship, and they call it Carnival Fun Italian Style. And that definitely influences what is available. It is heavily Italian themed, a little harder to find other types of food, and that's what I'll share all about it in the video. There's also some ground rules before we get started. Recognize that food is very subjective. Everybody has their likes and dislikes, and this is ours. Of course, we've been on almost every cruise line around the world, or at least the ones that are based out of Europe and America. So we have a lot to compare it to. What you do want to be, which is different than I think every cruise line we've been on, is you really want to watch your fun time. So these are the daily planners that come into your room because the food changes every day. Not everything's open all the time, not everything's available all the time. So you always want to check the back where it says the food venue and their opening times to make sure that you are kind of planning your day, which is kind of weird that you have to plan your day around food. So that's really one of our big tips is to kind of plan your day around those opening times and what you're looking for that day. This video is not going to have anything about specialty dining. When you get closer to your cruise, it'll start sending you emails about going ahead and reserving that dining experience. So I'm not going to talk about that. Pretty standard what was available, but all the menus were very the same. So just for time reasons and that we didn't go to any of the specialty dining, I'm not going to talk to any about them. So let's get to the other big ticket items that you want to know about planning your food on the Venezia. We have been on a Costa ship. It was years ago, and I don't want to say it, but it was the worst cruise that we ever went on from a ship experience. So when we learned that the Venezia was a former Costa ship, we were concerned. Good news, you don't have to be that concerned, but it does reflect what we had challenges with the Costa brand is that the food really was not steady throughout the day. So I thought it was best to kind of put it from a time perspective. So it starts off kind of slow, what's available. Lunch has the most variety. And then dinner time, your options become lower. And this is according, again, to all the complimentary options that are available. I'm also not going to talk about Celebration Key, which is a part of most of the Caribbean itinerary. So, because it's a special animal in itself, if you want, you can watch the video about Celebration Key where I explain how that happens, and I will link that video below. The format for the video is I'm going to run it through basically what a typical day is like, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then some other options and venues that are open that are really kind of make the Venezia special. So first thing is Java Blue. That is their sort of Starbucks. These are only, from what we understood, on the Costa ships or the former Costa ships. This is paid. There is a charge for it. It's always busy in the morning, especially. So if you do want coffee and you don't want a line, you want to go as early as possible. And there is the wonderful pastry container behind me. Pastries are available. All of those were for a fee. We did go there a couple of times and we can recommend it, but there was a charge to it, which we'll get to that in a little bit. Here is your beverage station. So, complimentary are coffee and tea and water and ice, obviously. The other thing that I didn't get this into the picture, but it's there, is also there's juice available. It's not real juice, it's the juice from concentrate, but that's available. There's certain juices available for breakfast, and then they switch over at lunchtime. We appreciated that there are several places to get made to order food. You saw the omelet station before. This is also another place where you can get it made to order, Tomadora. It works sort of like a Chipotle's in that, you go through the line, you pick your tortilla and your meat, and then any add-ons that you would like. This gives you some variety as well. Here was one of the daily specials. So it really is that I thought that was kind of nice, that you don't have to just go to the buffet. Another great thing about another made to order place is the Pizzeria del Capitano. You'll see that pop up, which of course it makes sense that an Italian chef is going to have pizza available. But in the morning, they serve bagels and they have really crazy bagels. And what we didn't know anything about this. It's always busy, but you're going to see why because I actually ordered the rainbow number five, and the chef was so nice to let me video them so you can see how it is. But that's why it takes a while here, is because everything is made to order. It was really great and really a nice alternative if you don't want to go to the regular buffet. Moving on to the afternoon, especially on sea days, this is where the most variety is going to be available. You can get so many different things, and that's really when you want to check your planner for lunch, especially if you are at sea, to plan out your day. Here is one of the first things that starts opening right before lunch is the complimentary ice cream and frozen yogurt. Again, these are not real ice creams, they're the mix. Gelato is available at Java Blue, but there is a cost for that. But this is open until late, so you can always, if you're wanting a nice little treat after. Another thing that opens around 11 o'clock is the Carnival Deli. This serves hot and cold sandwiches all day long. This is also open till late. And we had a sub here once, and it was pretty good. So it's a nice alternative too. And you see, like, there's so much variety. The Capitano Pizzeria switches over to pizza itself. Again, there's always a line here. And the reason why there is a line that I found out after a few days is because they give you half a pizza at a time. Now you can request, less, but I just took the regular serving. So it was half a pizza. Many people are taking a whole pizza and they do make it from scratch. So you see the chefs, they're actually making it, the crust and everything from scratch. So they're not making the pizzas fast enough to supply the demand. So this kind of the helpful tip here is to go off times. Like if you go right at 12, when everybody's going to lunch, you're going to have to wait a long time. Another smooth tailing tip, I didn't realize this again until a couple of days later, is that if you like the arugula, that is one way of eating true Napoleon pizza is you have to ask for it, and the chefs will, well, of course, put it on for you, no worries. Guy Fieri, this is a very busy place. So this is where you're going to get your typical hamburger. And you can see here, there is a menu there. The hamburgers are like, restaurant quality. You go up there, you ask for which one you want, and then the chefs are going to make it for you. This is always busy, and it has a bar with it that I'm going to show you next that shows you some the side items that you can get on your hamburger. Another option that is only open for lunchtime is the Tamadoro switches over to a Mexican menu, and you do, like as I said earlier, like at Chipotle's, where you pick what you want and they stuff that sucker, and there I am eating mine. So again, there's just so much variety at lunch, and you just want to kind of pick what you are feeling you want for the day, and unfortunately you need to plan it out a little bit. Another specialty restaurant opened just for lunch. This was a surprise hidden gem. We found it on the last day and we were very disappointed because, again, it's not open every day. This is a classic sort of American barbecue style. They even have collard greens. It was probably one of the best things we ate the whole time. It's really hidden on deck five. But go check it out if you like Southern food. And I've got a quick video of what is on that buffet in the next section. This is the Canal Grande dining rooms, and if you are on your time dining or you want to choose express dining, this is where you're going to sit. Beautiful venue for sure. And if you watch us for a while, you know us. We usually don't go to formal dining, but we decided to since we wanted to make sure we gave you kind of the full experience. So we went to dinner one night, we did lunch one day. It was on the sea, and then we also did afternoon tea. It is truly a beautiful venue for sure. But things again we found out that we hope you watching this video will help you. Even if you are on your time dining, you use the Carnival app to put yourself into the virtual line. You can do this from anywhere in the ship, but that's going to depend on the Wi-Fi strength at the time. But even if you do that, you're probably still going to wait. Which was nice on the app is though you could choose if you wanted to sit with other people or you wanted your own table. We usually get a table for two simply because if you have watched before, you may know that I'm deaf and it is really hard for me to hear at those big tables. So that's why we request. Not that we don't want to talk to people. It's just it's hard for me to hear people. Um, they do have something that, again, we found out later called express time dining. So, this is where if you're heading to a show like we were, you tell your server that you'd like to do the express dining. So, they will make sure you are completely served within 45 minutes. It is important you tell them this because we did not tell them this, and we waited at least 20 minutes for our first appetizer before we told our server, like, "Hey, we're gonna, we're looking at our watches, and we're like, we're gonna miss our show. If you can, you hurry it up." And that's when they took care of us and did that. But we didn't know you could do that, so we're telling you so you learn from our challenges. This was afternoon tea. It is not served in the traditional English style, which is what my stock photo is, where things come on the three tiers. They give you cake first, and then they bring it out on a plate that has a sampling of the scones and the sandwiches and the cake. So not traditional English style, but all the players are there, and it is quite lovely. And if you don't want tea, as I don't drink tea, I did ask for coffee, and they were fine to substitute the coffee for it. But here is our big rough waters warning about dinner. So this is the first ship we've been on, and maybe it was that other Costa ship where we felt this way, that dinner, if you don't go to formal dining, you're kind of punished for it. So their buffet only had basically what was being served at the formal dining options. They just made it into buffet style. So they would have the chafing dishes, and like I remember chicken cordon bleu was one night, and they just simply chopped up the chicken and put it into the chafing dish, and you grab that instead of as if you're at the restaurant, they would be serving it to you plated out. So that was disappointing. And Guy Fieri shuts down before dinner. The Tomadora shuts down before dinner. So your options really get limited at dinner time, where you're basically either going to eat what was in formal dining or the hot deli still open, or you have those specialty restaurants. And we just thought that that's not really what we're used to. They just didn't put really a lot of effort into the dinner buffet. And if you plan it out right, there's no big deal. But for us, we were disappointed by that. Another rough waters warning is that there were a lot of additional charges for small things, and I don't appreciate that. Cruise lines offer, come onto our ship because there's so many great things to eat. But when you're charging for donuts, so that's what was I referring to in the morning pastry buffet, is that they charged for donuts, and I really thought that was absurd. Who charges for donuts? They charged for chicken wings, which was Tomadora serves those in the day. They had a sea shack that was open, but that had a cost to it. That I little bit can more see. They also had this strange empanada bar on deck five that was in a bar, but that was also like $5 an empanada, and it looked like that stuff just sat around for hours. So I'm surprised it made any money. But really, we were not happy with all the additional charges that they had for food, because really, that's not what their brochures say. Something else that we never caught, but then I finally caught it. Like I walked by it once. It was at the Sea Shack, and it was Asian food, but I didn't make the connection. But it really is on, I know I keep pointing to this, but this is really how you're going to plan your day. They did have Asian food available only on certain days and only at lunchtime, and it was called chopsticks. So if you want to kind of break from all the Italian food, try chopsticks and let us know how it was. Leave a comment. I wish we'd tried it. The empanada bar I just mentioned as well. It is only open on the evening times again, and it did have a charge to it. Java Blue was had great milkshakes and ice cream and gelato. We had milkshakes there a couple of times, and they were kind of pricey. They were, $11 for a milkshake, but hey, it was a great milkshake. I will give them that. So really get a sense of where all the food is, and I hope this has given you a pretty good idea. They also had a midnight buffet that was the first mate only went because it was 11:30 at night and I was already done. But some of the best options were there, and I'll show you a picture of that so you can get a sense of, hey, if you really want some, classic bar food and good stuff, maybe you need to make it to the midnight buffet. We hope this brief tour of the Carnival Venezia's food options help you enjoy your cruise even more. I mean, we didn't have a bad time for sure, and we didn't go hungry. Let me just get that straight. But I think we would have had a better time had we known that we needed to look at the planner and really decide what we wanted to eat throughout the day and to have a more enjoyable time. Again, food is very subjective as well. Anything I don't have to cook is a bonus. I get that too. So if you've been on the Venezia or if you have a question, please leave it below. We're a community. We're all just trying to help each other. If this video was helpful to you, it does us a great deal if you like it. And if you're part of the Cruise Port Captain crew, thank you for subscribing. For all of you who are not, because we know not many people subscribe, please do. There's no cost to you. And then you're going to learn about all of our adventures as we explore ports, explore ships, and hopefully help you have the most flexible, enjoyable cruise possible in the most cost-effective way. Until then, I'll see you in the next video. And of course, make life a bon voyage.